Kalimera Kalamata. I have a message for you.
Καλημέρα. Ονομάζομαι Τερέζα Αγγελάτου και είμαι η πρέσβης της Ελλάδος στην Ολλανδία. Βρίσκομαι εδώ αρκετό διάστημα ώστε να αντιληφθώ ότι οι Ολλανδοί έχουν μια ιδιαίτερη εκτίμηση και ιδιαίτερη αγάπη στη χώρα μας. Παράλληλα διαπιστώνω ότι είναι ένας λαός ο οποίος χωρίς να φτάνει στα άκρα εκτιμά ιδιαίτερα τον ελληνικό τρόπο διατροφής και ιδιαίτερα την μεσογειακή διατροφή. Το λάδι και οι ελιές, οι ελληνικές, είναι πολύ δημοφιλείς στην χώρα αυτή. Μπορούν να πουληθούν σχετικά άνετα και σε μεγάλες ποσότητες στα εδώ καταστήματα και κυρίως στα σούπερ μάρκετ, και πρέπει να υπογραμμίσω ότι ειδικότερα όταν μιλάμε για ελιά, αμέσως το μυαλό τους πηγαίνει στις ελιές Καλαμάτας, οι οποίες περιγράφονται εδώ πέρα ως πολύ μεγάλες και πολύ εύγευστες. Θα ήθελα να καλωσορίσω το συνέδριό σας, να σας πω ότι υπάρχουν ιδιαίτερα μεγάλες δυνατότητες για να μπορέσουμε να πιάσουμε και την αγορά της Ολλανδίας περισσότερο και με πολύ αγάπη για τα προϊόντα μας. Σας εύχομαι κάθε επιτυχία και ελπίζω να τα ξαναπούμε σύντομα. Ευχαριστώ.
The ambassador in Holland. Fantastic. In Holland, you need a strong woman against Mr. Dijsselbloem. So, it's a pity that she's leaving. Okay. I have to stand close here? Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for having the opportunity to say something here. My name is Christiaans, and I'm a olive oil maniac, as they say. Next to that, I'm also the owner of a wholesaling company, but this is what I do it for, olive oil and olives. I was asked to say a few words about that, about the olive oil world, about the trends, and what the opportunities are for Greece, and especially, of course, for Kalamata. And they gave me 20 minutes. That's not enough, I can tell you. So I'll push through. And then they also asked me if I can do it on cheese and figs and tomatoes. 20 minutes. I apologize already. So what I do, just for a short introduction, I give a lot of workshops and presentations in Holland and abroad about olive oil and the beautiful world. And also I'm asked a lot of times to say something in the media, which is good, because then you can really say something about the subject. And one of the nicest things that was done, I must say, was in the Tanea, where I give just on one page how you can solve the crisis, which is absolutely impossible. Although I heard Mrs. Karelia say that economy is psychology, which I fully back up. And that means if we had 70% of all the people that have to say something about economy would be women, we would have solved the crisis. But that's a complete different setting. Point is that if you are in these kind of papers, newspapers, and whatever, you never know what happens with your photos. So before you know it, it's been taken by some kind of internet news, and you are part of a Greek salad. I don't know why, but it sounds good. Okay, let's go to what I'm really here for. I want to discuss with you a few items, facts and figures, a SWOT analysis about Kalamata itself, or the Greek olive oil and olive sector, and some suggested strategies. Please bear in mind that it's a very, very short presentation that I'm going to do, so I cannot focus on everything that is being said here. Just a few facts and figures. Now, obviously, we all know about production and about where the most olive oil comes from. So 95% comes from the Mediterranean area. I got 2014 and 2015 here because for me that was a very interesting year, and for you probably also, due to the Xylella fastidiosa and the very bad harvest in Spain. I didn't see any Greek olive oil producer or supplier hiring the price, selling it for a higher price to Italy in the bulk. That was very disturbing to me why that was. Anyway, just to show you, Spain did 875, Italy 300, Greece 300 is 1,000 tons, right? And then we have some lesser countries like Turkey, Tunisia, Morocco, Portugal, Algeria, and Syria. But as you can see, Greece is really a main player. They said the third, well in that year it was the second. This is not about quality, this is about the total amount of olive oil. So if you look at 2015, 2016, by the way, USA did 4,000, so don't bother, but it's good quality, by the way. If you look at 2015, 2016, then obviously you see, that's the green line, you see that we went from 2.4 million to 2.9 million tons, which is a lot. Now the interesting part from my point of view is, where should you focus on, is if you look at the difference between the EU and the rest. The EU produces the most. The question is, what do you do with it? Now, consumption, that's the only thing I want to know. Production is nice, but consumption I would like to know. Anyone, any idea in liters per capita, what country and the amount of liters, please, does the most? Anyone?
About 15.
Greece, about 15. Anyone else? No one else? Greece, about 15. A little bit less, but 12.8, exactly as you. It depends on what source you take, obviously. That's a lot. It's a lot of olive oil. Second one. Italy, how much?
7.
Spain, 11.3. Italy is about 10.5. And then it gets interesting. Portugal, 7.2, which is a lot if you see what they produce, because that's what I'm trying to make, the connection between production and consumption. Cyprus, very interesting. And then we see Morocco, 2.4. They produce a lot of olive oil, but they only do 2.4 per capita. I just want to state that there's a lot to gain also in countries where they use a lot of olive oil. By the way, that doesn't mean that, for instance, in Spain, I'm talking about Spain, everybody knows everything about olive oil. That doesn't mean that in Italy, everybody knows everything about olive oil. That doesn't mean that in Greece, everyone, and I'm talking about consumers, knows anything about olive oil. With all due respect, they don't. We have to teach them. Turkey, 1.4. 1.4 liter. 1.4 liter per capita. From babies to people who almost are 120. Belgium, 1.4. Luxembourg, 3.2. That has to do with the bordering with Germany. And then we went to Holland, because, well, I'm from Holland. 0.8. 0.8, not even 1 liter per year per capita. Where's your market? And I'm talking about the United States. 0.9. Obviously, there are more people, but 0.9. If you look at the imports, then there are a few things that are interesting. China, by the way, it goes from blue, red, green. China is stable. US is stable. But the EU is very going up and down, up and down. I'll get back to why I said that later on. If you look at the olives, then you see a very interesting trend. It goes up, but not a little bit up, but from 1990 to 2015, it goes rapidly up. So the market is huge, and you're sitting on a gold mine, but you have to use it. So there's no way that there is any argument to to say, well, you know, they don't use that much olives or olive oil, so we cannot sell it. But if you look at the olives, and again on the annual per capita table olive consumption in kilos, look at the right side. Holland, 0.2. That's 200 grams. It's something like this. It's one jar I buy in the retail in the supermarket. And I don't want to buy that jar because it's crap olives. 0.2. Germany, 0.5. Poland, 0.2. Denmark, 0.5. A lot of European countries on the right side. Now, these are for the figures, right? The question is, what can you do with this? Because, again, you're sitting on a gold mine. The future is extra virgin, I heard one speaker say. And that's absolutely something that you have to focus on. But again, how do you do that? Now, from a SWOT analysis point of view, I would say there are a few things that are really your strength, not only for Kalamata, but also for Greece, but especially for Kalamata with the olives. Your price quality of olive oil, if you compare that to other countries, is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Your history about olive oil. I mean, the Mediterranean diet started, with all due respect, in Greece. Your knowledge about olive oil is high. You know a lot about olive oil. You need to translate it to the consumer. And the blue zones. Did anybody ever heard about blue zones? Okay, I will get to that. Your weaknesses, the Stendhal syndrome, I call it. Stendhal was a psychologist, and he found out that people were fainting when they saw something very beautiful in Italy. Dutch people, if they go to the Tuscany, because that's where they go if they want to have a good holiday, they faint when they see the cypress trees, and everything that's from Italy is beautiful, and everything that is being grown in Italy is beautiful. So the best olive oil comes from Italy, they say. Why? Because it is a total experience. I call it the Stendhal syndrome. The marketing can be a little bit better for Greek products. I go a lot to all kinds of fair and exhibitions, and I really think that you can do something extra in that one. We can talk about that later. Sales support is not always very good. As I told you, I do a lot of businesses with Greek, Spanish, Italian business, and I have to say that doing business with Greek enterprises sometimes is very difficult. Language is an issue. Lack of large-scale enterprises. Now, this is probably not new to you, but it's something that has been said in the McKinsey report in 2012, I think. So these are things that should be worked on. Opportunities: aging, Mediterranean diet, health, healthy food, organic, sustainability, interest in authentic food, education and medical tourism. These are things that you can focus on, also here in Kalamata. And the threats, obviously new countries, where I mean New Zealand, Japan, California, they grow some very nice olive oils. So keep what you have, but promote it. Obviously, the economic situation and refugees is not helping you right now because everyone is focusing on that. So let's look at the history in the blue zones just to see why that's a strength for you guys. Now, basically, the whole history is about Greek olive oil. I just put a few here. I don't say anywhere Italy. Everything is focused on Greece. Olive oil is Greece. Use that. Blue zones. There are 5 blue zones in the world. And a blue zone is, just to say it very shortly, is a zone where people live longer, happier, and more healthy. One of the zones is in Greece. Your opportunities there with your Mediterranean diet and health is enormous. You're sitting on a gold mine talking about Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean diet was actually in 3 studies in the beginning of 1949 studied, and it's not something that existed. It's something that the name didn't exist, from Crete, and basically the whole of Greece knows what the Mediterranean diet is. Not even the whole of Italy, only the south of Italy, not the north of Italy. They're meat eaters. Not Spain, they are meat eaters. You are the Mediterranean diet. By the way, not anymore, because the percentage of youth that is obese in Europe, Greek children are the highest. This was an interesting one. I'm not sure if it is, but I just wanted to show you. This was a study from beginning of this year. Components in extra virgin olive oil kills cancer cells. If that is true, then you're really sitting on a gold mine. All right, Mediterranean Diet Manifesto. I just put this one on from a lady from Greece. She used to work in the United States, and she's now working here in Greece and focusing on the Mediterranean diet. So, I'm just going to close up because I'm too long probably already. Yes. My suggested strategies are very easy and very simple, it looks like. Focus on the EU. There's so much to gain. There are no trade barriers. It's not China. It's not the US. If the Food and Drugs Administration is checking your olive oil, they're going to check it very thoroughly. It's going to take weeks before you have it, for instance, there. China, always difficult. It's a big market, of course. But if your focus can be on the EU, it's much easier. I have about 130 restaurants in Holland where I deliver. I deliver in the Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Utrecht region. I don't go to the north of Holland. Why should I? And I'm not going to Belgium or to Germany because there are 40,000 Horeca restaurants in Holland. I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to look anywhere else. It's easier. It's much easier. Your unique selling point is the Mediterranean diet and health. And I cannot say it, I have to say it over and over again. Your gold mine is the Mediterranean diet. Use it, really, use it. Combine your forces as Kalamata. It's not only olive oil, it's also olives. And be aware of cultural and food perception differences. The Big Mac in Holland is not the same Big Mac in France. Or the Unilever soups are different because the tastes are different for people. And the last one I just put on here. Be picky on your exhibitions. I'm not talking about this one, but I'm talking about the one I met someone at a Horeca fair in Holland, and he was a producer and said, "What are you doing here?" A Greek producer. Except because this is a Horeca fair where there are producers, no producers, but just companies from Holland who try to sell their stuff directly to restaurants. And you're a producer. Are you going to sell directly to restaurants? Do you have a distribution network? He said, no. I said, what are you doing? He said, I don't know. That's not the first one I met. Be picky on your exhibitions. That's basically it. Thank you very much. Olive oil is beautiful. It's a fantastic thing. Enjoy it and be strong, Kalamata. Thank you very much.